Now, with their names scanty in the history books of African football, few gave KCCA FC a chance against the record champions in the CAF Champions League, Ahly. The two teams faced off in Nambole earlier on this week, with KCCA going on to win 2-0 thanks to a well-struck beauty in the second half by Saddam Juma after 73 minutes, and later on a penalty that was struck by the captain, Timothy Awani, with a minute to spare. That was KCCA's first victory in the CAF Champions League group stages, and the first by any Ugandan club at that particular stage. As we speak, KCCA do have 3 points from 2 matches that they've played, and they've managed to cover up for that 1-0 loss to the Township Rollers that they played on May the 3rd away in Gaborone. In the other match played in the same group, it had the side that is Esperance from Tunisia beat up on Township Rollers 4-1, and that encounter saw Esperance go top of the table with now 4 points. Ahly are bottom with just 1. Township Rollers have 3, but they have an inferior goal difference compared to KCCA FC. Well, there are about 360 minutes of football left to play in this particular group, and we'll see how far can KCCA go. But just to remind you that KCCA is still busy in the Uganda Premier League because they still have a chance to win the National League title, that is the Uganda Premier League, considering they are 5 points behind the league leaders, Vipers, on 54, with Vipers on 59. But KCCA do have a game in hand that they do play this weekend on Saturday when they do travel away to play Bright Stars in Mwerere. Now, this particular encounter pits two teams that do have the 2 top scorers in the league. Mohamed Shaban with 13 goals from KCCA FC versus another man who is chasing the Golden Boot this season, that is Nelson Senkatoka, who is actually netted 15. He's 2 clear of Shaban, following that brace that he netted in the recent 2-1 away victory over Bull in Jinja. Well, you can bet on this match on www.betway.ug, but don't forget that Villa themselves, who were actually top of the table for the longer spell in the season, also in 3rd place as we speak after 54 points following that goalless draw away at Express, do have a chance to as well close the gap, though their title hopes seem to have faded after that draw in Wankurukuku. Well, they do take on Proline on Monday, and this will be at the StarTime Stadium in Lugogo, before on Tuesday, where Vipers can put one hand on the trophy if they do beat Express at St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Now, this encounter sees Express 3rd from the bottom with 28 points, hoping that they can win their last 2 matches in the season and be able to survive the knife. But also, Express do face their direct rivals against the relegation knife, that are Masavu, who are bottom in their final game of the season. Well, pretty lots of mathematics between the top and the bottom to decide who wins the league and who will be heading back to the FUFA Big League. But remember, you can bet on all these matches on www.betway.ug. Now let's talk basketball, because Betway Power got off to a flyer in the National Basketball League that did tip off last week on Saturday. Now, they did pick a 64-56 victory over the reigning champions, City Oilers, and they at least dented the start to the season for the team that is bidding to win their 6th title in a row on the men's side. Well, Power's victory was followed up with another win over Charging Rhino 97-46, and this time round, all players combining and putting efforts together, the old and the new, are blending well under the guise of Arnold Lendo. But he still insists that they didn't perform well on the offensive, and maybe that is what they will try and look out for to better when they get back to action on May the 23rd against our Saviour. This coming up next week on Wednesday. But also, not to forget that the side that is Betway Power managing to get some new faces, including Stephen Wundi and Brian Sivachi, getting onto that team that also has the likes of Joseph Ekong, Fami Sebatindira, who have been able to push the team to such a brilliant start of the season. Well, this season has a long way to go if they are still to be able to get those 8 seeding positions to be able to play in the playoffs later on in the season, and perhaps win their first national championship since 2011. But to still stay with basketball, do not forget that you can bet on the NBA because at the stage where we are in the conference finals. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics managed to get off as well to a flyer, winning the first 2 games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And on the other side, in the Western Conference, it is the Golden State Warriors who have also been off to a flyer against the side that is the Houston Rockets. You can bet on all these matches on www.betway.ug.